So this wall in my partner's office is kind of boring. There's this single paint by numbers painting that she bought at a thrift store a few years back, but that's it. So I want to change that and just make some art that she can hang on her wall. Now the tricky thing is that she doesn't like what I like. She doesn't like realism. She kind of likes intricate weird animal drawings, but not really. Vad gillar hon mindre?
Nej, den här är jättebra.
Okay. The good thing is that she likes stupid art. So I'm just going to make a lot of stupid art and hope that she likes it. Now, what kind of stupid art does she like? Well, it's not intricate like this. It's not even simpler like this. It's simple like this. And it's not just simple. This type of bunny is too sensible. The type of bunny she would like would look more stupid, like this. And then ideally, the painting should convey some stupid idea. Like maybe this semi-realistic bunny is a bit suspicious of the ugly bunny. And there we have it, a stupid painting. Made not for me, but for an audience of one, my partner. So the good thing is that these should be quite quick to make. So I'm going to make a lot of them. I'm basically going to try and use up all the tiny canvases I bought 4 years ago but never painted on. That way I can actually use the materials I buy, and she gets to pick her favorites. So let's get started. Okay, so I really need to target what she likes. And she likes to paddle or row, as some people call it. So let's make a boat painting. To start, I hate white, so I'm going to prime it with black before I start adding any color. And since we're making a boat painting, we can start with a sky, some water, perhaps a sun, and 2 birds. And then we add a boat. Quite simple. Now all that we're missing is something stupid. And what is a stupid thing that happens when you row? Well, losing your paddle. Maybe this just happens to me, but it is stupid when it does happen. And of course, we can't forget our little animal who this happens to. And as always happens when we draw, we fail a bit and we have to recolor the bear. The only thing missing, I guess, is a little oops. Now we could argue that it's kind of weird that this bear is holding the paddle with the left hand, while also having dropped his left paddle. But I do think it looks nicer this way. And no one told me this painting had to make sense. 2 paintings down. Will she like them? Well, hopefully. Now I have a lot of canvases left, but I think for now, for this video, I'll paint 4 more. So 6 in total. Now dropping your paddle is kind of funny, kind of cute, but it's not really super relatable. What is relatable though, is experiencing summer. So let's make a summer painting. I'm gonna go for some orange. And then I'm gonna fail getting a smooth cover. Fail again, but eventually we kind of have a nice orange. Now we can add a small sun in the corner. Some small sun rays, because why not paint like a child? Now let's add some small pots of plants. Because why not? And then what happens every single summer when it's good weather? You stand there tired and warm and you really want a cup of coffee. You're sweating and you really want a cold drink, but you don't want to spend $6 and half an hour looking for a place that serves a nice cold brew. So what do? Well, you end up drinking a hot cup of coffee and sweating. Is this something that just happens to me? No, it also happens to my partner. And I don't need to make paintings that relate to the average person, just something that she can relate to. Maybe she'll think it's funny. 3 paintings down. Now if this relatable coffee painting doesn't win her over, then perhaps a squirrel painting will. She loves squirrels, so let's paint a squirrel. Now if there's one thing I know about squirrels, it's the fact that they actually look a bit weird. They don't look quite like rats. They don't look like hamsters. They don't even look like owls. They have this really pointy snout that looks kind of goofy. So in order to capture that goofy essence, I actually want to use a reference. Thankfully, since I like painting animals, and I have one of these, not a thermos, telephoto lens. So because of this, I happen to take a lot of photos of animals. So here we have a photo of a squirrel with that really odd looking snout. So let's make a gray background so we can capture kind of a bad weather. And then we add a wooden plank that the squirrel can be standing on. And then we add our squirrel. And then a splash of color. Now since our reference is eating something, let's have our squirrel eating a leaf. And well, obviously, while squirrels do eat leaves, they don't necessarily perhaps want to be eating leaves. They want to be eating something like acorns. So let's add a nice little acorn. Naturally we mess up a bit along the way and we have to change the yellow color to a nicer type and fix some outlines. But eventually we kind of get there. Now the question is, why is the squirrel not eating the acorn? Well, perhaps some ants got there first. Let's add some nice plant materials in yellow. Now the only thing missing is that we aren't quite capturing the essence of what is happening. And even though people like saying that the picture is worth 1,000 words, I don't want this picture to convey 1,000 words. I want it to convey one word in particular. This one. Now so far I haven't actually shaded anything in order to keep it extra simple and clean. But I think this painting kind of deserves some small shading. And I honestly think it was the correct choice. Before shading, after shading. Now if you look back to our reference, the tail in particular looks quite different. But let's be honest, the tail on our reference is really quite dull looking. And the way we have done it here might not be realistic, but I'd rather take that it looks nice rather than being correct. Now, while this squirrel was fairly simple, I still think it's kind of complex, especially with all the shading and plants. So let's go for something cleaner and simpler. Now, I was actually planning on making this next painting with a panel board, but then while coloring all of the panel, I went a bit too much on autopilot and just colored another canvas. Now, this next painting is also going to be using a reference, and it's a reference I stumbled upon while looking for this squirrel reference. It's a picture of a cute little turtle, but we can see a cute little face. Now, the image itself is a bit dull, but I think I want to keep the essence of this turtle, but perhaps make it dive. So we start out by adding some sky, some water, and a cliffside. But now when we add the turtle, we make it jump. Color the turtle in a nice warm gray tone, and even though we want to keep it simple, some small shading would really work well here. Now we can start outlining stuff, and then we add that cute little face, and then a wee. Now for this text, I initially planned on making it black, but this blue color that I bought dried significantly darker than I was expecting. But I do think it works out. The only thing I added more was these small speed lines indicating the jump. Now, since this painting is so simple, I don't think it needed to be this big. So this is the canvas I painted it on, and this is the wood panel I intended to paint it on. But such is life, and I do think it turned out okay. Hopefully she will like it. But now I have quite a bit of paintings. 2 blue paintings with water, a green, a grey, and even an orange. But let's go for a pinkish background this time. Now the question is, did I intend to buy this baby pink? No, not really. I was planning to go for something like this primary magenta. But while in the store, I just kind of thought it would be fun to go for a color I don't really like. Which is dumb, but what can you do? I don't even think my partner likes this color. Now my girlfriend really loves plants, and I like how plants look. But I'm in a fairly dark area of our apartment, and I don't like watering them, so everything behind me is just plastic. But in all other areas of our apartment, we have real plants. And with real plants, you have to water them. So let's make a big pot, add some plants, and then we need a bird that waters the plants. Now from my understanding, the biggest problem with plants, other than them dying from overwatering or underwatering them, is fly. Every once in a while, I'll hear an "oh no" from the kitchen, and I'll see her face not like this, but like this. And then she'll spend a couple of hours repotting them or something like that. I know very little about plants, but I think that is what happens. Maybe she'll relate, maybe not. Hopefully she'll like it. And there we have it. 6 paintings. Now I said this will go quick. It didn't. About 21 hours in total. I have more canvases to fill, but I will take more time. But I want to end this with just guessing which ones she will like the most. So for my personal ranking of these, I'm going to have to put the coffee one as my favorite, then the squirrel, then perhaps the bear, then the bunny, the turtle, and lastly the watering bird. Who could have guessed I would dislike the painting with the color I'm not a fan of? Do I think she'll place these in any different order? Yeah, probably. I think the bear will be on top. But I actually think she will like the squirrel more than the coffee. Then perhaps the bunny, and then the watering bird. And I think she'll like the turtle the least. My guess is that she's gonna think that it's too simple for how big it is. So this is my ranking, and my guess on her ranking. So let's see her actual ranking. Okay, you have obviously seen them all, but let's start with this one. This one I actually mostly made for the video.
Vänta, jag måste komma på... Jag har inte bestämt mig än. Vänta.
Okay, so we're unsure how to do this. So we'll start with the one she likes the least and then go in ascending order to the ones she likes the most. Okay, so out of all the paintings, we have them spread out behind us. Which one do you like the least? And that was actually what I guessed. And reasoning.
It's a bit boring.
I think I also picked this the second least. My reasoning is just mostly the color, and I'm not sure I like the composition of it.
I like the character and the colors except for the background, 'cause I don't like this pink color.
Okay, so 2 for 2. I'm actually not too far off as of yet. I think from now on it might get a bit more difficult. So that one's 3rd place.
So I like the colors, I like green, and I like the characters. It's not worse than the others, but the others are better. I like them more. So it's not that I like it less, I like the other 2 more.
So far, it seems like half of them, the first 3, are actually bad, so bad that we kind of maybe don't want them in our apartment. But from this one on, you might actually want them.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, and then that one.
Yeah.
And last.
2nd place. But I think this one is actually tied with the first one. I'm not sure I like the other one more. Perhaps the color, I like orange a lot, but I like this.
And then obviously this one is the one with the color that she likes more. I'm not too far off in the overall order. I at least know what she likes and what she dislikes. Hopefully this was somewhat interesting. I plan to make around 30 of these. As I've said, I have a lot more canvases, and I want her to be able to select paintings that she really likes, instead of things that she kind of doesn't like. But that will have to be for another video. Thanks for watching. Bye.